the only reason I'm alive is because I was fit enough to survive a horrific crash. You know, before my accident was by far the most athletic I'd ever been. I'm like, yeah, I wish I could meet my 18-year-old self and make fun of him because he's not capable of anything I can do.
I'm looking at a person that I can't necessarily say I can say about anybody else, specifically in my life, that is alive because of your fitness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're a dead man.
I want to be prepared in any situation. And when that mindset started to creep in on me, when you go into that gym and it says hold this standard every morning, it really makes you want to be a better person.
From my perception, you went from sort of like distant friend of the community, like on social media, to like full throttle, 2 feet in, deep end, fully committed. I went from not knowing you to, like I said, sitting at your bedside in the hospital, like in a very short span of time.
911, what's the nature of your emergency?
On July 28th, 2015, I was in a bad motorcycle accident. I, suffered 5 strokes, traumatic brain injury, 6 broken ribs, 2 broken vertebrae, 2 collapsed lungs. I have 2 plates in my forearm from the exploded bone here. I have 2 plates in my collarbone from the separation that was created there. And I have 2 rods in my spine. My T1 to my T6 are fused, they call it, and 12 screws into my vertebrae. What it comes down to for me is like, there's no doubt that without DEUCE Gym and like without that community of mindsets around me, like I would not be alive.
Surviving is the sort of like banner, sort of hallmark of this thing, fitness saved your life. But what we observe in other people with more minor injuries is the same thing that you experience too, is like the recovery. So not only do you have these surgeons and these people looking you in the face, telling you you're alive only because of your strength and the physicality that you had. What were they saying in terms of your recovery? Because you were like outpacing all of their expectations as well. And we've observed that in the other injuries too. People crash their bike or they get injured playing basketball or something, and they're just able to recover better, and that was your experience too, right?
Like as soon as I got out of the coma, they were like, Scott, we're gonna get you up to take a walk, and this nurse came in, and we're walking down the hallway, and my first question was, how long is this hallway? And she's like, why? And I started telling her, well, listen, I wanna walk a mile.
I'll never forget that. You did the math to figure out how many laps around floor number 7 is a mile.
Yeah, and I said, listen, I want to go for the mile. She goes, we're just going to go down the hallway and back to your bed.
Yeah, sir, you're at your bed.
Yeah, so they thought I was crazy right away. I was at my rehab hospital 12 days after I was out of the coma, and I was supposed to be at the rehab hospital for a month. And after, I think like 6 days, I called my insurance rep and I said, there's no reason for me to be here. Like, I feel great. And like, you should come down here and test me out. And like 2 days later, they did. And I tested out of there by them making me walk down 5 flights of stairs and back up without stopping. And it was hard. I was tired and mad, but I was like, I'm going home today. That was it. They let me go. I rehabbed for, I think, a total of like 8 days.
That to me sounds like mental. You decided how many laps around this floor is a mile, and you set some goal, whether they let you achieve it right away or not. You reaching out to your insurance, you deciding, this is all mental stuff. And like, do you separate in your mind the physical part from the mental in terms of your training and I guess what this process has meant to you, or are those more intertwined than one might think?
So I think that the mentality is so fixed with the physicality. Like I said, I always thought I was fit. And then I came to DEUCE and realized I'm not fit. And a lot of that was about mental things, because it was like, no, we run here. And like, the thought of that isn't physical. The thought is, why would we do that? So it's really the idea of like changing the mindset to like match your goals, of like what you want, and recognizing like what I want is actually really hard. Like what I want to be good at everything. Oh, well, like I'm gonna have to train for everything. So the mentality for me, like coming out of that situation and like the little rehab, the calling the insurance, like all that stuff is like, I'm fine. Like luckily, I've come out of this thing miraculously well. I'm not gonna use this as an excuse, Like I was very, very excited to be alive. I was like, okay, I get a second chance at everything. Like I refused painkillers at the hospital. And the idea for me, like that was mental, was like, I don't want to depend on the fact that this pill will make me feel better. So immediately early on, I decided like, I'm gonna be in pain forever. You know, like I'm gonna deal with being uncomfortable forever. Like I get this second chance, well, it doesn't come free. You know, you're gonna be a little annoyed, pal.
Yeah.
That's how it is. Or like worse for me, honestly, is be paralyzed. I'd rather be dead.
Yeah.
You know, like that thought of like not being able to live the way that I live. Like you see me now, like I get so frustrated. I can't do a muscle up.
Yeah.
You know, like I can't pull on my back that way.
Yeah.
Makes me so mad. But in the context of everything, like, should it?
Right.
You know, it's
Right.
like, all right, man, you can't do muscle ups. Neither can 85% of the world.
Yeah,
you know, like,
more,
yeah, but like much more, I'm
Right.
sure. Like, all right, bro, get over it. Like, you're not going to the games anymore. You know, like it's over.
Yeah. There is a certain level of commitment that you have, not just to yourself and training, but like to the gym, that I don't think everybody fully understands. I'm looking at pictures of your like crash site, you know, and you're like laid out and there's people cutting your clothes off and all this stuff, and there's a photo that sort of stuck in my mind that shows your only tattoo. You're laying out on the PCH, you know, half alive, half dead, and you have one tattoo and you got it just before this accident.
For me, it's like I want to wake up every morning and be reminded to hold the standard. I have a choice to work as hard as I can at what I want to achieve. It's funny because people are like, hey, what's that 2 on your foot? And it's very hard to explain